Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Waiting to be profiled are actress Dulce Maria Solis and Berlin-based filmmaker Rick Minnich. Actress, writer, comedian Dulce Maria Solis graduated with the Bachelor of Arts in Theater from Cal State University San Marcos. She studied in Russia and in Chicago at the Improv. You've seen her in films, on TV, and on the stage. She's currently acting in her one-person show, Cella. So tell me, how did you decide to write this play?
I knew I wanted to write Cella because Cella is my mother's name. My mother's name is Graciela. And Cella is the short form that they use, the nickname. And I knew I wanted to write that when I was 8 years old.
Oh, you were thinking about it then?
Oh, when I was 8 years old, I knew I wanted to write. In the midst of all the chaos that Cella is, I knew then that something wasn't right with all the chaos and what my mom was accepting as normal behavior, what the family had been accepting as normal behavior.
But there were a lot of people in the family, right? There were a lot of people
involved. But a lot of my family thought, well, they still do think it's normal to be verbally abused and physically abused, so they didn't think anything of it.
So there's like no breaking this cycle.
We're breaking the cycle now.
But it's tough.
But just even as I speak today in little bits.
So it took you a long time to write it. Actually, it was starting in your mind a long time.
I knew I was going to write Cella. I just didn't know what its title was going to be. I didn't know if it was going to be a book. I had no idea it was going to be a play. That I didn't know at all. I thought it was going to be a book.
But why at 8 years old? What were you doing at that time? You were born in Mexico City.
Mm-hmm. Because I knew that we were going to leave. We left when I was 8, and I knew then that we were going to leave, and I was going to take that story with me.
And then where did you go?
When we left
to the U.S.? No,
when I was 8 years old, we were in Oklahoma when we left. One of the main characters in the play, who's mentioned mostly by name and by film, when we left him, we went to women's shelter, and then my mom took off.
You mean you left the family? You left the husband?
No, I didn't leave the husband. Cella left the husband.
Cella,
the main
your
character.
Family, right? Okay.
And we just kind of went to women's shelter, and then after the women's shelter, my mother engaged in a relationship with this woman, and we went everywhere, escaping him for 2 years.
Oh, so you traveled all over the U.S.
I don't really. I know, and I was wondering how I'm going to answer some of your questions. I don't really have where am I from. I don't have that.
But when you left Mexico City, you came to Oklahoma?
My mother tells me that when I left Mexico City, my grandmother picked me up from Mexico City, took me to Europa, Michoacán. At the age of 3, she brought me to Santa Barbara. And then from Santa Barbara, we went to Oklahoma, Iowa, Missouri.
Oh, that's when you were traveling all over? But then, how did you find yourself in a school, in an education situation?
I went everywhere. I went to a lot of schools. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how. I've been everywhere. I don't really have a home. This is the longest I've ever been in one place.
Which
LA.
is how long?
5 years.
That's very good then.
Yeah.
So you're starting to feel like there's roots.
Oh my God! When I did my show this last time at the Hollywood Fringe, those people that came were people I knew, and I just felt like, wow! I feel like everybody knows your name, like Cheers. Yeah, like that show, everybody knows your name. I was like, these are people I knew, and they're coming because they know me, you know. And I had a lot of repeat business.
You mean for 5 because they've known you for the last 5 years?
Yeah.
Your involvement in the
salsa dancing in the theater community. So I just feel these people and some of them are just like the show. They came again, and people drove from San Diego to see it. And I just thought, wow, this is what it's like to know people.
How did you choose San Marcos then?
I don't know if you're going to believe this, the power of willing something.
Yeah.
I came here in 1998, 8, just to visit a friend. I was in the military at the time.
Oh, that's the other thing that was so amazing. You were in the Navy.
Yeah.
And so you were stationed in San Diego?
Yes, and that's where their mistake was, because as soon as they landed me in San Diego, I was like, I'm not leaving, I'm staying here.
You like that?
Oh, I knew. But that's what I mean by the power of willing or saying something. I don't know if you believe in that. I remember coming in that year, and I saw the college. I go, I'm going to go there. But it was just so I'm going to go there. And then in 2002, I did.
And then you did.
A year later, I moved there, yeah.
And then how did you give up the Marine? I mean,
the Navy?
The Navy.
Well, that's it. When they put me here, I'm like, I'm not staying.
And then you left?
96, 2001, I was gone. I was like, that's it. I'm done. I knew then when I went into the military, I didn't go because I really wanted to. I just didn't really have, the choices weren't really good.
So that was but it probably was a good place to get yourself
together.
Oh,
yeah. I had no money to go to college. All my friends were either dead, in prison. It just,
It was a really sad situation. So, I saw the play. You were fantastic.
Thank you.
You play so many different roles. How does the director move you around? Because I know there's like dark periods and you're changing on stage. You're doing everything right in front of us, as close as we are.
Right, yes.
It's a very small theater.
Yes. It's intimate theater. I've done it intimate like you saw it, or I did it at Cal State San Marcos with a lot of people.
In San Marcos with a big theater, and you've done it in Houston.
I did it in Houston at the that multi-education cultural arts center.
Yeah, and Santa Monica.
Santa Monica Playhouse. That's a 99. I think that's 99 seat.
But I think it's bigger than where we were.
Oh yeah, I think we were at 50. Yeah.
Yeah, we were 49, and then doing it in New York.
Yeah, that's a 100 seat. That's a 99 seater.
So go on. I didn't mean to interrupt you. About moving around on stage.
Oh, no. I mean, what was the question? How do I move around?
Yeah. I mean, how does the director get you into all these characters?
With Todd, the way he directs me.
Who is the director?
Todd Blakeslee. He actually helped start theater in San Diego. He's been in theater for 30 years.
Oh, so
when San Diego had no theater, he gave it. He established what is theater today. He's one of the founding fathers there. The reason I work well with Todd Blakeslee is almost like he doesn't direct. He lets me do the work. I come to him, and then he says that doesn't work. This translates. This doesn't translate. Or I didn't believe you at this moment. That's it. That is really how he directs me. I don't know how he directs anybody else.
But did he help you write it or rewrite it? Did he tell you things had to be rewritten?
He makes suggestions. And if it resonates, if more than one person says it, or sometimes my gut feeling says he's right, that's what I would change.
And then how did you get into the character? You play your mother, and then tell us who else you play.
I play my mother when she's 32, and I play my mother when she's 7, when she's 15. So that's 3 of the characters, 15-year-old. I play Aurora, my mom's sister, when she's 11.
Yeah.
I play Linda. The last name's not mentioned. I play Linda Henshaw, which is a white lesbian in the Midwest. I play Suki Ruki, which is the local neighborhood wannabe slut, but a sexual guru that doesn't really know anything.
That's right, yeah.
Dr. Gusami, which is an East Indian doctor. And I'm trying to think and Nurse Mary Jo, which is a kind of a Midwest, instead of a Southern belle, Midwest belle. From Oklahoma, who's just is on her first day on the job, trying to keep her job with my mother running around screaming.
How did your family react to this play? Have they all seen it?
The only 2 people who have seen it are my mother and my sister. My family has not seen it. My grandmother wanted to see it when it was in Texas, but we were afraid, and I was afraid that she might get up and either talk to the characters or claim indignancy. Right now, I'm in correspondence with Oklahoma City Community College, which is where I graduated in '95 for the 2-year college, and see if they want to bring it there. At that time, my family will see it. I don't know how they're going to respond.
How do they react? How did your sister? Did your sister think you were doing a good thing or a bad thing?
My family's very weird. They're just like, oh, okay, that's good. That's it. They don't really go, oh, well, I'm proud of you. Or my mom and my sister are that way. They're just like, oh, okay. They really don't. I don't know if that's, yeah. It's almost like what happened with Woody Allen when, I don't know if you saw the movie they did with Woody Allen. They're making fun of the fact that he's eating at the table with his family, and his family goes, you know, you really should become a doctor or something, or
Yeah.
they don't really not realize what he's done with his life.
Right.
They're
Like
suggesting something else. Right.
It wasn't significant
Right. It's
enough.
like, oh, okay, that's nice that you're doing the play.
Have you done it in Spanish?
Yes. As a
Oh,
matter
you
of fact,
have?
it was 85% in Spanish. And it was hard to get the Spanish-speaking community, if that's all you speak, is not a theater-going culture audience.
Right.
And so I made that decision last year. And last year was written in English, and then everything changed.
Is that right? Well, did you just only get Spanish-speaking audience,
I brought in
or did
very
other
small.
people?
They're, like I said, they're not theater-going audiences, and culturally.
Were they offended by the subject matter?
Oh no, no. I mean, if you see Latino theater, there's a lot of sex and violence. In fact, we're attracted to that. It seems like so. No. They.
I wondered if they were, like, if your family then was objectionable to what you performed on stage and
They
how
have no
you
thoughts on
perform,
it.
and no?
No. Like you said, to them it's just like, okay, and then they talk about something else.
Could it be a film?
That's my goal. My goal is, if Tyler Perry is out there who has been subjected
Right.
to domestic violence, this play that made him famous was about domestic violence, and he knew he had a play for the people, by the people, and I know that's what I have.
So you're a big advocate about being against domestic violence. Have you gone out to groups and spoken to them yet?
No, I'm an advocate through Cella. That's what I'm doing. That takes up a lot of my time. So, and I'm hoping that by doing that, and I get the amount of notoriety that I'd like, I can then endorse stuff. That's what I'm looking for.
That would be great, and it would be great for you to go to organizations and to also go to these domestic shelters. Because I think you could be very helpful with what you know and how you don't
No,
you?
absolutely. No, I do. I have gone to them. It's difficult to bring domestic violence people who are in the shelters to come out because they're busy sheltering themselves from their abuser. So I can't really bring them out. There's a safety issue involved.
Yeah, that's true too. It's very difficult. It's very touchy. What is this I'm a feminist you've written? I'm a feminist till I fall in love?
I wrote a six-character play called I'm a Feminist Till I Fall in Love. And it basically is about what happens when a male feminist and a female feminist fall in love. How long can they be feminists before biology and gender roles take place?
Moves in. And the Cat House murders?
The Cat House murders. My brother was murdered in 2009, and I have a play called Casey Barrientos, The Cat House Murders. And what I'm hoping to do with that play is also give prisoners a voice and how my brother got involved in drugs and how it was continued to perpetuate after he got out, not being able to find a job, being marked, not being really rehabilitated in prison, coming out worse than when you're in.
It happens, right?
That happens, absolutely. So that's what that play. Currently, that's
and he
the
was a
working title.
target.
He was murdered because he was selling drugs, and he was turned in. Well, according to the trials that are happening now, we're finding out all the information. It was premeditated murder, and because of the money he had.
Oh, for the money he had.
And the women that he was killed with 3 women, and because of the women that were there with him were one of them was the HBO, I forgot her name, Phil Brooks, I think, from the Cat House show, the prostitute show, the HBO show.
Oh, that's right.
They were murdered, stabbed, and shot. And so I want, and my first reaction that really bothered me is how everybody just said, oh, this actually hurts. Oh, well, they're just prostitutes. They're just pole dancers, and he's just a gangster. I'm like, wow.
That's really tough.
Yeah, that was really tough to see how easily they were dismissed. And so the other thing I'd like to do with the play is journalism has gone out the window. They basically take any information that's sensational and just report that, and the facts were never reported from my brother. So I'm hoping to clarify some of that, give a voice to prisoners, and hopefully...
You have so much ahead of you.
Yes, I do.
You have a lot on your plate.
I do.
But keep on that stage.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Dulce Maria.
Thank you, Joan, for having me here.
And don't go away. We'll be right back with filmmaker Rick Minnich. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. I'm here with filmmaker Rick Minnich, who was born and raised in Southern California. He earned a Bachelor of Arts in English at Columbia University, and he studied in the MFA program at Cal Arts. Then he moved to Berlin. He's known for his documentaries, Homemade Hillbilly Jam. What are the other documentaries? Good Guys, Bad Guys.
Heaven on Earth.
Heaven on Earth. There were so many. And he's in LA to talk about his latest documentary, Forgetting Dad. This film is played all over Germany, in China, in Greece, and you spent a lot of last year taking this film around to festivals and different cities in Europe.
Yes, I was pretty much all over the place. I got as far away as Brazil, and I was in China 2 times. Chinese really love the films for some reason. And I traveled around Europe a lot, and I was in the US and Canada.
But why did you go to film school in Berlin and not in the US?
Well, I started in the MFA program at Cal Arts.
Yes, which is great, right?
I was enjoying it, and then I'd spent a year in Europe before that and fallen in love. So
you'd
the
fallen
classical story.
Oh, now we know.
And when I was over here, I missed her, and then I applied for a graduate fellowship to go back to Germany.
Oh, you did? Where'd you go to school there then?
I went to the State Film School in Potsdam. It's just outside Berlin. It was the old East German State Film School.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Potsdam is great.
Yeah.
Oh, so that was wonderful.
Yeah, it was a good experience.
And the love affair?
We're married and have 5 kids.
Oh, it worked.
It's like, yes, it worked.
So far it's worked, right?
Yeah.
Well, were you shooting those documentaries, like Hillbilly?
Homemade Hillbilly Jam.
Yeah, what is that? Were you shooting them there when you were in Germany?
I've shot 4 long documentaries in the U.S.
And
I always
what'd
bring
you
my
do?
crew over from Germany, and I've had the funding come from Germany. And I'd come over for 3 to 4 weeks at a time and shoot the entire film during that period.
So tell us a little bit about the first one. Tell us about the Hillbilly.
Homemade Hillbilly Jam is actually the 3rd of the films.
And
it's about hillbilly music in the Ozark Mountains of Missouri.
And it's jamming?
Well, there's jamming. It focuses on the film, one extended family, the Ballou family.
Uh-huh.
There's these guys around my age who have a band called Big Smith, and I really focused on them and then branched off to their extended family because these guys all learned to sing from their parents and their grandparents.
Is that what a story is about, generations?
It's about multiple generations and about this kind of hillbilly music and a lifestyle that's kind of dying out.
Yeah. Good Guy, Bad Guys?
Good Guys and Bad Guys was my first long film. I shot that on the occasion of my 10-year high school class reunion out here in California. And I focused on, I picked out 2 people that I liked back in high school and 2 people that I didn't like.
Is that
so
right?
much.
Is that what it is? Good
That's
Guys
like Good
and Bad
Guys and Bad Guys.
I got it. How'd you find them?
Well, we were all classmates.
Yes, but I mean, still, were they
we
around?
We had our big class reunion, and then I came with my crew and we filmed at the class reunion, and then I kind of singled out. I had a few people in mind, and then one guy wasn't at the reunion, but there were other people there I hadn't thought about who were doing interesting things with their lives. So I latched onto them. And the whole background was kind of like growing up during the 1980s and the Reagan era and Cold War and how we kind of clashed.
Was it politically clashes too, or
yeah, there were
everything?
political clashes too. I was considered kind of leftist, and some of these guys thought I was a communist sympathizer or called me a pinko commie and stuff like that. So it was interesting to go back 6 years after the Cold War had ended and re-encounter these people.
That was so typical, wasn't it, of what was going on and the underlying feeling and the name calling and all that kind of thing. Yeah. And the other one?
Heaven on Earth is a 1-hour documentary I made about Branson, Missouri. This
is
Bible
so
Belt
amazing.
showtown.
Yeah, but because you're picking things that really European audiences are interested in.
Yeah, maybe
more
a little
so,
more exotic.
aren't they? Yeah, I mean Branson and the hillbilly lifestyle.
Yeah, the hillbilly film didn't go over so great in Europe. It did better here, and we got a real DVD distribution deal here, and that did pretty well in the U.S. It was a little too specialized, maybe, for a lot of European ones. The Finnish bought it. It was on Finnish television, so they buy a lot of stuff.
So then, how did you decide after all these? The one was kind of personal. The one, Good Guys, Bad Guys, that was pretty personal. This Forgetting Dad is really personal. It's actually Who's forgetting him, you or is your father forgetting him?
Well, it's kind of both directions. It has a double meaning, the title.
Yeah, tell us the story.
Oh, the story, it's about a 45-year-old man who has a car accident and 1 week later wakes up with total amnesia, and it happens to be my father. And this happened in 1990 and in Sacramento, and I had always wondered why his memory wasn't coming back.
Well, why wasn't it coming back?
Well, there's a lot of speculation about that. He always claimed that something happened in his brainstem or something from the headrest. When it hit him, his car was rear-ended.
Because he said there was nothing. You said there was nothing wrong with him.
Well,
he came out of an accident.
The doctors couldn't find anything wrong with him. It's very unusual for amnesia to start a whole week after some kind of a trauma. So there's a lot of suspicion. Nothing showed up on all these brain scans, and no one really knew what was wrong with him. And then his memory didn't come back, and he started calling himself New Richard and said, this person you're telling me about.
N-E-W, like I'm a new person.
Yeah,
right?
like a new person. And he said that this person everyone's telling me about, that was the old Richard, that's not me. He really made a complete break from his past.
Do you think you're the kid. Were you living with him then?
No, I was 21 when it happened.
Oh, so you weren't living there, so you couldn't see what was happening or how he transitioned into this situation.
No. I have two sisters, older sisters, 3 years older than me. We're the three from the first marriage, and then my father was on his second marriage when he had this accident, and he had two little kids living at home with him.
He was on the second marriage.
He was with the second wife, yeah.
I see. So was she sympathetic with what you were doing?
Well, we had never really gotten along that great. And I hadn't talked to her for about 10 years when I decided to make this film. So I was very nervous about approaching her.
And how did it go?
It went well. She was a little reserved at first because she didn't quite know if I was going to try to make her look bad or prove that she was guilty somehow and the whole thing. And in the end, she was quite happy with the film.
As you started to do the film, did you think you were going to continue and finish? Did you have your doubts as you...
Oh, yeah. Lots of doubts.
Did you? I mean, along the way.
Sure, a lot of doubts. We shot over a 2-year period.
Oh.
I came over here 3 different times, and a lot happened during those shoots and then in between. And new evidence popped up. We found medical records. We found all kinds of court documents, things that were going on in my father's life before the accident, and also medical evaluations from after the accident, after the amnesia started, all things that he had never shared with anyone.
Even the present wife?
Well, now he's on his third wife.
Oh, he's on his third wife. Oh, okay. Even with anyone? He didn't share them with anyone?
No, well, maybe with his third wife. I don't know.
Was it therapeutic for you to go through all this and try to straighten it out?
Sure didn't feel like it at the time.
No, I would think that it would be tough.
Well, now I think it has had some kind of therapeutic effect. I get asked that a lot if I found some kind of closure or something. And it's been a pretty slow process. But I'm kind of come to terms with it. And I actually saw him last weekend for the first time in 4 years.
In how many?
In 4 years. For the first time since making the film.
Yes, did he see the film?
He has not seen it. He was very angry about it because he let me film with him for many years, and then suddenly he didn't want to be filmed anymore.
Oh, so you filmed him?
Yeah,
during that
he's
period.
In the film, yeah. And I think he expected me to just quit making the film when he decided he didn't want to be in it anymore. Like the stars,
right?
You can't make the film without the star.
Right. Well, how did your mother and your siblings handle it? And Justin, one of your brothers,
Justin.
Because I think the first family must have taken it the hardest, did they?
Well, my sisters and I were already young adults.
Oh,
so
you were grown up.
I was 21, they were 24. It had a certain impact on us, but we were also busy with our own lives and starting our careers, and I had just finished college. My brother Justin was 8, my brother Matt was 3, and they were living at home, and they were hit really hard.
They were with your mom?
They were with my stepmother.
Oh, they were with your stepmother.
It's complicated, all these marriages.
Oh, it is. And
it was my father's second wife.
And Justin and Matt are from that?
They're from the second marriage.
Oh, I see. But they're just treated like this whole big family.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did they think?
Well, Justin's still very suspicious about it all. It's a little hard to know where he's coming from. He blames all of his problems in life on our father. He has had a lot of drug problems.
Yeah,
he lives up in San Francisco. he sort of gets his life together and then he falls apart again. And
what happens with you, the filmmaker, bringing all this out on the screen for everyone to see? How do you handle it?
Well, everyone in my family wanted to talk. I didn't have to convince anyone.
They all wanted to be on camera.
Well, they were all willing to. Well, they're all sort of little exhibitionists, I guess.
Yeah, but one of those sisters was like screaming and yelling, and they were like screaming and yelling. Did they know the camera was going?
Oh, sure. I mean, there was no hidden camera stuff going on here.
Yeah, so they really...
they expected me to find some kind of answers.
I see.
To solve the riddle of
right.
my father's amnesia. So everyone was kind of giving me their little stories, their little bits of evidence, and it was my job to put it all together.
And then how'd you get all the archival footage and all the photographs? Was it easy access?
That was easy access. My uncle had quite a lot of stuff. He gave me a whole box of Super 8 films, and I had them transferred. And
that was his brother?
Yeah, my father's brother. And then
and what did he think about it?
He is very disappointed in the film. He thinks it's only negative stuff in it, and he was upset because we filmed a big long interview with him, and none of it's in the film. Oh. That was on an early trip there. But the last time I was there with my crew,
people want to be in it.
Well, they wanted to be in it, sure.
People want to be in it, right?
Sure.
That's very interesting in that regard, because it's like one of the interviews you did in China, I was looking at, and she said that the people there couldn't understand how you could open your whole life and tell all these secrets to everyone.
They asked me a lot of ethical questions about, the private sphere and how close you can get to a person and when you cross the border.
Oh, they did.
So
yes,
really
because they're worried.
That.
They're interested in those kind of situations and human rights and all that.
Yeah.
David Spiegel, a psychiatrist, calls this a family mystery story.
Right.
Is it still a mystery story? And why didn't you use his footage?
I'd say...
Is he from Stanford?
He's from Stanford, and he evaluated my father for the county of Sacramento hired him for an evaluation because
I see.
My father was hit by a county officer.
Oh, I see.
So that was legally kind of complicated. And for David Spiegel, he thinks it's a pretty clear-cut case of a psychological disorder. And he has seen the film, and he thinks it's in the 20 years that have transpired since he saw my father, he said it's pretty much taken the course that he thought the amnesia would.
And he does believe it was the amnesia. Do you think it really is amnesia? He couldn't put an act on like that, could he?
That would be pretty tough.
Would it? Is it?
Yeah.
What about the relationship that your father had with his therapist? That sounded kind of bizarre. Dr. Karen?
Dr. Karen, yeah, he called her mom. That always kind of, I always found that kind of odd. I met this woman a couple of times and was a little puzzled by what exactly her role was. She didn't.
And what was it?
Well, he says it was to help him adjust to his new life.
Oh, she was there to help him.
Yeah.
I see. You talked about bringing your crew here all the time. You work with the same people. Mm-hmm. And why is that? Do you have kind of a shorthand situation?
A little bit, sure. We work well together, so.
So who is that? A camera?
I have a cameraman, Axel Schneppert. He's a German. He's shot all of my films except one. Uh-huh. And I usually work with the same sound recordist from Germany, too. And Matt Sweetwood, he's another American. We made this film together.
And you had original music?
From Ari Benjamin Myers. He's a New York composer who lives in Berlin.
Oh, so you found another
But there were three Americans who were the core of a group of the film, all of us expatriates.
Yeah, that's great. What do you want the audience to take away from Forgetting Dad?
I would like them to take away, just to have a better understanding that memory is kind of a very fragile thing, and that family relations are really the strongest bonds that we have, and it's worth trying to make those relationships work.
I think we all have problems trying to do that, and you have to give a lot. It is a challenge.
Sure.
So, thank you so much.
Well, thanks for
Are
having
you
me.
back to Berlin?
I leave next week.
Well, we're happy to have you here. Thank
thanks
you.
for having me.
And thanks for watching the Joan Quinn Profiles. Keep emailing me at jaquinn1@aol.com. See you next time.